Hello, Nana here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We are back in the Gloomwald, next to where we found Amalia's father, because we are not quite done with the Gloomwald. There's one little thing we have left to do, and that is the devotion shrine that is hidden down here. It was not really on the golden path through here, but after comparing notes with one of my older characters, I noticed that I overlooked one. So we're gonna go there. It's pretty easy to find once you know where it is, and also once you know that you actually have to look for it. Because no, from the waypoint you just walk back and you just lean right, and then it's gonna be over here. And these planty things are relatively tough. Lots and lots of health. Good thing is they're slow, so hit and run tactics are something I can employ here. Yeah, killing some of them released plants, that is something that is easy to forget. But we nearly got this bugger. Wonderful. Hey. No more walking plants. Time to move forward. Okay. Something I have been saying for the past couple of episodes, but I keep forgetting it. Let's do some hitting and running and not a lot of standing still if I don't really have to. Gonna get a desecrated shrine here, so let's see, I count at least 3 different heroes. That is wonderful. Okay, standing inside of poison while fighting, and inside of a other lovely green circle. I would suggest let's not. Yeah, there we are. Bring me the loot. And we have cleansed the shrine. Oh, relatively easy to do. Let's see, what did our notes say? We have completed the behemoth, we have completed the quill, so next up is working our way towards the scythe. And to do that we needed blue things, and for that we needed the viper. 1 more point and we have the viper completed. Okay. This also kind of resolves the issue that we have here, so we can go back to the Coven's Refuge and push forward. So we currently have 2 different quests. Next to a vendor, might as well quickly evaluate what we found. Much more armor than what we had. Damage bonuses though are kind of mismatched. So let's skip it. Gloves. Bit of fatality resistance, a bit of lightning, but for the rest is just too much missing. Same for this one, just not defensive enough. Boots. We have pretty good boots in terms of resists and movement speed. And this one doesn't really offer much. And over here the damage types are mismatched. The Marauder's Belt, the chance to do a double-handed attack which has some extra attack and burning and slowdown, it seems like a pretty nice thing to keep, so we'll have to get a pretty decent belt to get me to the point where I want to replace it. And doing extra bleeding damage, that's not gonna compel me to change. Let's see, new medal with 23 poison resist, but that is just not a competition for something that grants me 64 resistances. And we have an empowered cruel edge, which is an axe that doesn't really seem all that useful for us, so we'll just sell it. I've gotten into the habit of just selling some of the blue items I don't really care about, and I don't see myself using or being build defining for another character. It seems easier that way to keep my stash at least partially empty. Oh yeah, something at the end of last episode I didn't sort through my gear, but after the episode I did, and I did some comparisons with the Marauders guns, and the listed DPS change was actually that switching to different weapons would reduce my damage, but once I disabled the auras and swapped things around, I actually gained damage. And then when I crafted Hellsbane ammo and put it in, I gained even more damage. So we did actually upgrade our guns, and having components in your weapons, even if you use the... what was it? Hey, it's not working anymore. Oh yeah, of course, you can't compare. Now, if you're hovering over something and you hit control, then you actually ignore whatever is socketed in it, so you get a slightly better comparison. In case of dual wielding, it's a bit more tricky because you do have 2 items. But anyway, we have upgraded to the local weaponry now, and we're doing a little bit more damage. So, getting a little pushed back here by the local wildlife. Can't say that that really sounds like something I want to make a habit of, but, well, we are a hit and run build. The running can go in multiple directions. But maybe the hitting ought to be more forward facing, slightly more towards danger. Might not be the best of ideas if you are playing on hardcore. Oh, because their defense is key. Well, if you're not playing on hardcore, you might as well run a little forward, especially because there is some spacing between packs most of the time. And if you can use that space to just dance between groups, then you'll be fine. So for the Uktenborg, my general strategy is going to be to just keep running northwest. Most of the time that, if you're lucky, you'll find the future witches. So that's going to be a quest that you can hand in. And it's going to get you to the Barrowholm waypoint, which is going to be the first goal for the day. After that, we're going to have a little chat with the fine folks in Barrowholm. And then let's see how many of the Barrowholm quests we can get completed today. Okay, situations like this, the artillery, it is pretty well signaled, so just shooting, moving, shooting, moving. It should allow you to dodge most of the incoming poison globs. And there we are. So most of the area of Uktenborg itself, we can go back to it later. Ooh, two heroes, level 50. Okay, I think I'm just gonna take a little retreat here. At least there's no healers backing these fellas up. Very happy to see that. When walking towards the... just before the episode, I walked around a little bit, just getting to the starting position. And I did encounter a pack with 2 or 3 Wendigos. And it took me a while to realize that no, they weren't really sturdy. They actually had healer backup. So no, be careful. Cannibals have healers and they will heal everything that looks friendly to them. Ah. Couldn't shoot you because you weren't triggered yet. Wonderful. There's a couple of side dungeons and side areas and things like that, but most of the interesting ones you will have to go to in context of a quest. Or you'll need some ingredients for it that you will obtain from a quest. So postponing most of the Uchthenborg content until after you've been to Barrowholm seems like the most efficient strategy. I guess there's a reason that the first quest you get for going to the Coven's Refuge is to move over to Barrowholm. It's a bit of an odd choice. I did remark upon that in the Necromancer playthrough. Bit of an odd choice that you don't get to explore the area you've gone to, or at least you're not supposed to, because that is what most of the game has been about. But well. At some point, you discover it, and then after that, you know how to deal with it. And then it doesn't really matter anymore. So, funny just seeing bits and pieces of very, very large statues buried all over the place. Okay, these are highly mobile, highly damage dealing enemies. So, getting surrounded, not the best of ideas, just throwing them out. And shooting them is a much better idea. Ow! Let's not throw meteors on my head, will we? And once the numbers have been reduced, it's much easier to deal with them. But a Dreadlord's badge. A little bit of health stealing, but Ether and Vitality, that is too bad that it boosts the wrong stats. So then, last episode we went to town and respec'd some skill points, mostly just into the defenses. We still do decent damage with the Stormbox, but we're now slightly sturdier and have a little higher base damage with our guns, because after all this is a gun build. One thing that does trip me up here is that the plants respawn, but not always. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and there's a little bit of a delay. So it's very easy to think you've killed a plant and then suddenly get attacked again by it. Unexpectedly. I guess that it is I'm suspicious now. Okay. But I guess that's now the design for this. Okay, so Uchthenborg Rift, this is about the halfway point. From here you can head, I think, to the east. There's the Tomb of the Spectre, and to the northeast is the Lair of the Witch. Could say no, just ignore the plants. I'm a highly mobile hit and run build, so plants can't catch me, then the plants are not gonna bother me. But leaving enemies behind, it always feels wasteful. Never really been good at it. Let's see, over there, yeah, see Laria's and Tin entrance. So we will be heading over there. Laria the Witch. It's part of a quest chain that in the Necromancer playthrough I encountered and actually decided not to go with, because it felt like I was I had to make a choice I didn't want. Turns out there's actually dialogue options, and you actually can make some pretty neat choices there. So I'm looking forward to going there. But it does require a second or third tier Barrowholm quest to go there. or yeah, Barrowholm. I think judging by how fast we're moving through, I think just making it to Barrowholm and just having a chat with the folks there is probably going to be most of what we're doing today. And then we'll just save the quests of Barrowholm for the next episode. Okay, getting kind of hit in the face quite a bit more than I would prefer to be. And look at that. The witches we were looking for. Or the wannabe witches. Witches in becoming. Traveling witches. Boop. Let's not try to stand in the middle of all those ground-based ABs. And especially not if there are two Wendigo ghosts. Braves, something. I think these are just Wraiths, not Wendigos. Ooh. Purple item. That means legendary o'clock. Let's have a look at that, because they don't drop all that often. The final stop. Legendary shield, level 50. Yeah. It's useful that it gives +2 to shield training and +3 to counter strike. That is very much something for a retaliation-based soldier. I would have loved to have this one on my commando actually, but well, can't always have it. What else do we find? Hellion boots, Hellfire, and Blast shield. So Blast shield is a demolitionist thing, and Hellfire, I believe that's an upgrade for the occultist for the doggy. So that's quite useful for us. One of the nice things of at least making basic contact with a faction is that you will actually start getting reputation with them. That's one of the reasons why it is actually useful to just rush over to the Barrowholm folks as well, so you can just simply start getting reputation. Oh, well, that said, if I'm remembering correctly, they were not very fond of Chthonians. And these are the refugees, so that's good. They're not fond of not fond of Chthonians, but there's no Chthonians in here, so it's not really helping us all that much. The Chthonians don't come until later. There are ancient ruins, so I was slightly in error when I mentioned the ancient ruins. The ancient ruins are up there, so that means the next waypoint is up there, and it's slightly down from the other waypoint. But it also means we're close to the waypoint. Well, one of the ways of testing your knowledge is, of course, just stating no expectations based on your current level of understanding, and then measuring whether your expectations and reality mash up. And then, no, you can either get a confirmation, so you knew, or you can have an opportunity to correct something, or to just learn in the first place. So, Burning Bloom, let's take you out. It's kind of funny that the plants have heroes. Then again, they're trying to eat you, so yeah. Maybe it's not so funny. If all plants were like these, I would almost would almost consider becoming vegan out of spite. These plants have an attitude. And there we are, Barrowholm Rift. So, let's do some introductory rounds here. And after that we can go back to the other town, have a chat with the folks and see if there are any follow-ups. But for now though, we just walked out of a creepy swamp into something that looks like a rather idyllic village. What's up with that? Hello there, Scorv. I'm looking for the Ogdenburg fetish. So, you got two choices here. Either become friendly, help them, or you can have some power struggles. Because I want to wrap up at least part of the quest line here, I'm gonna go friendly with them again. My next playthrough, I'm probably gonna go hostile with them, just to see how that works. So, see, the personal items here is where the quest item resides in that we want. But before we can do that, we have to pick up questies. So, we'll help you, and then we will help you. So we have to restore some wards. Those are located pretty close to town, so I might as well do that. And then I think for the other quest we have to go a bit deeper into the nearby sections of the Ogdenburg, so we might as well postpone that until a little later. Reactivate the wards. Got myself kind of surrounded here, but it also looks like I'm making a stand, so let's just put down a protective circle. And that is the one down, two more to go. So, for this case now, we can just go to town and then head east again. Wow, the lighting really changes. It's almost like time is accelerating here. That's kind of interesting, actually. Never realized that. So the second of the wards that we have to reactivate is located over here. I think they're close to town, right? Because no, they're meant to protect the town, so they're kind of boxing the town in. So this is a relatively easy one to do. Let's not get too much surrounded here. Wonderful. And Venom Gaze Bile is one of those things that we need to collect for another quest, or is this the first of the three items? Okay. I did some digging around in my stash and I found some level 50 guns. As I mentioned, the listed damage comparison is lower, but turns out when dual wielding this can't be trusted. So I'm assuming that upgrading from level 40 to level 50 guns should improve my damage. So just keeping them around me as a reminder that I actually do have some upgrades to go into. So this one would give you +1 to all the skills in Demolitionist. That's a very good motivator to actually put some points into that class. And the Frigid Barrel of the Relentless North. Chance to freeze, freeze retaliation, all kinds of cold stuff. Seems pretty cool. No pun intended. But nonetheless, pun delivered. Okay, then we can just take the road over to the left here. And do another one. There. Bit of a ruin there with some treasure boxes, so let's go back there. Hello. I like treasure boxes. Might have mentioned that once or twice. Right. And then we might as well just walk back to town. So this is one of the two quests. It's always in the quest dialogue from Scorv, it always is implied that you only need to complete one of the two quests. Might as well see if that is really the case here. So you still have questions, so that's not it. This one though. So you're gonna get me a follow-up quest. I'm fine with that. But can we hand in the quest? Oh, see. So he wants me to kill Ctonians, but we only needed to complete one of the 2 quests in order to get access to the Uktenbog fetish. So if you're only trying to just speed clear the content and just try to get to Malmouth as fast as possible, just doing a single one of the quests here might not actually be all that bad of an idea. So we have our waypoint here, because we still have to rescue the travelers in the northern and northeastern Uktenbog. So that's going to be a bit of a circle around, and we need to go into the mines to kill some pit creepers. I thought you had to kill the boss there as well. Could be that that is part of a follow-up quest. Oh well. So, we have completed the fetish thing. And now we are getting the follow-ups. So, it does seem like the progression through here, there is a very much streamlined path to go through here. Now you just tag the waypoints, you hopefully pick up some shrines along the way. And then from Barrowholm, our next quest is to go to the portal that stands on top of the mountain, which we can easily reach from Barrowholm. So we already have a path forward to actually go to the altar of Ratosh. Well, that's it. We're just gonna take the next episode to do some side quests in the area. There's at least one devotion shrine here and a bit of reputation to grab. Our current status with Barrowholm is only friendly. We have to get to respect it to unlock another quest chain, and that's gonna be the one for the witch shell. Have to just see how that goes. And how are we now with the fine folks over here? The Covenant of Uktenbog. Okay, similar status. Oh wait. There is of course the other quest to hand in, because we did free some folks in the swamps. So all happy. So another little bit. If you're new in this town, always make sure to go to the southeastern bit by Evok. There's a treasure chest here that gets filled every session, and there is a one-shot big chest next to it as well, and there's a bit of lore that you can find here. So that's always useful. Because we freed Ralia back in the Blood Grove. When we entered the Blood Grove, she was the witch that was about to be burned at the stake. Well, for saving her, she actually shows up here. You get a little bit of reputation with the fine folks here in the Covenant Refuge. So definitely worth going there. And, see, another treasure chest. Sometimes there's something in there, sometimes not. There was a lore bit in there the first time through. So also worth picking up. So that's it. Let's do a little bit of shifting through the loot. Did we find something worth upgrading into? Elemental resists. That starts well. Elemental damage, burn, frostbite, electrocute damage. It's actually not quite bad. But if we compare it with what we currently have, we have chaos resistance, which we're not maxed on, so losing chaos resistance I'm not too keen on. And 2% chance on attack to trigger insight, which gives me another 50% bonus to elemental damage, as well as energy regenerated. 2% chance on attack. Keep in mind we do attack 2.5 times per second, so we ought to be triggering that one often enough. So now these pants, not an upgrade. Belt. Ooh, this is very tempting. Pierce resist, elemental resist, so effectively that is 3 different resists, and a bleeding resistance. This is pretty terrific. Or even if it only had the resistances, it would have been very tempting. On top of that, it has more armor, it has health, it has elemental damage, and well, the ether damage is forgettable here. But actually, no. I'm mistaken there. Oh no, wait. The ether damage, you have the option of converting the lightning damage in the tether or the lightning damage of the stormbox into ether, but that's not what we're doing here. On the other hand, this one is 8 levels above us, so by the time we can equip this, chances are we have outgrown it. But for now, I'll just put it in the final stash or in the final bag with other potentially useful things. Magically marked Ulgrim's frying pan now contains magic omelets. Boots, these are not an upgrade. We're not a caster, we're not a melee. Living ring, bit of vitality resistance, bit of elemental damage, a bit of health, 10% increased health actually is not all that bad. And the regen and casting speed are less useful for us. But if you compare it to what we currently have, no over 50 resistances on the one ring and 25 ether on the other, then this is just no upgrade. Dreadlord's badge, we had a look at this earlier. This was just not something useful. So, this was a very typical outcome. We found some items, but nothing worth using. So, with that, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye bye.